Abbe, thank you for joining us on The Right Note.
My pleasure.
So that version of Doomsday Clock was quite different from the recorded version, which has gospel choir and piano and strings.
Church bells.
Church bells, yeah.
The kitchen sink. We threw everything into it.
What were you going for with that song?
The concept of the song, The Doomsday Clock, this idea of this, constant march toward the end of the world. Through things like climate change and nuclear catastrophe. It's quite a heavy concept. It's not exactly easy to think of. Yeah. So I wanted to kind of make it, juxtapose that theme with a joyous gospel choir, and then also kind of not make it too sweet, so you can hear this kind of ominous church bell ringing throughout.
And was it inspired by you becoming an aunt?
I have had some massive changes in my life in the last couple of years, and this song was one of the first songs I wrote for the new album, which was called Bitchcraft, but I've since been told I'm not really allowed to call it that. It's little too offensive, apparently, particularly in places like Europe. It would be very hard to plug. But anyway, that's a whole other story. I basically had, some massive changes in my life, and it used to be all about sex, drugs, rock and roll, which was really fun in my early 20s, very decadent, and then, but quite destructive and ultimately quite a lonely space to be seated within. But then my niece was born, and then I had two nephews born, and they just completely lit up my life. And I realised that I wanted to leave them something more than just, a collection of great guitars and some pretty fabulous shoes, I've got to say. I wanted to see if I could start creating discussion about some more important topics besides my sex life. Yep. So, the new work involves quite a bit of politics, but still quite a bit of sex as well. But as my one of my collaborators, Joni Hogan, who sings on Doomsday Clock, said, sex is political, especially if you're, a queer woman. It is a political subject. So the record is both sexual and political, and Doomsday Clock is one of those songs.
Great. So that's quite indicative of what the album will sound like?
Well, there's a lot of gospel on it. It's a gospel soul record, just because I tend to not make the same record twice, and I figured why not. Next we'll do some trance and some doom metal. No, I'll never do that. I think all people, hopefully, who like a bit of gospel will be able to get behind it.
Do you have a release date?
No, but 2017, I think.
Okay.
I've got to get it out at some point.
And you spent a time playing in Peter Garrett's band not too long ago.
Yeah.
What was that experience?
It's awesome, and I'm really delighted that I'm still in the band after the first tour. It was a wonderful kind of experience, learning how to play these great songs, and also I really enjoy supporting an artist, so standing behind Peter every night and playing guitar and doing the best I could to give his song to do his songs justice. It's a real honour, because I grew up listening to his music, and I'm also really aligned with his political stances, and it's a pretty amazing experience.
Okay. Were there any kind of out-of-body experiences when you just looked at him on stage and thought?
There was one in particular. It was Adelaide, and I think it was about like 4 or 5 shows in, and I don't know, I was just sort of playing, and of course I was sober during that trip. I have these moments of sobriety, which you and I have discussed before. And I decided I was going to do the whole, 6 weeks or whatever it was sober, and it was great, but it just meant that I was really present during the whole thing. And during one of the shows in Adelaide, I just was like, oh, that's Peter, that's Peter Garrett. And I had a bit of a moment.
And you are on the road again now, supporting Doomsday Clock?
Yeah, I'm travelling Australia with my band, playing the Doomsday Clock tour, which has so far been a lot of fun.
Well, wish you luck with the rest of the dates.
Thank you.
And with the album.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Better finish it at some point, right?
That would be good.